Betty, 27F, and I, 30 male, got engaged in January after dating for a couple of years. Our plan was to get married next year when we had saved enough money for the wedding. Shortly after getting engaged we moved in together at the end of January. In May, Betty was a bridesmaid for one of her friends. I was unable to attend due to my job and the fact it was a 5-day trip. Betty had a great time reconnecting with some of her old friends, but a couple of weeks after she got back she became moody and withdrawn. I was relieved when she made an appointment with a therapist since she hadn't opened up to me about what was troubling her. After about 5 or 6 sessions, she sat me down one Saturday morning so we could talk. Betty had been raised in a very conservative household and had to suppress her desires until she moved out to go to college. Even then, certain ideas she denied and refused to embrace. At the wedding, she was introduced to the wife of one of her girlfriends from college and it triggered a lot of repressed desires over the days they all hung out before the wedding. She told me she felt romantic and sexual attraction to women as well as men and realized she was bisexual. I told her I was happy she finally felt safe in sharing this with me and it didn't change how I felt about her. It was a very emotional moment. She asked me how I felt about her exploring her sexuality now that it was out in the open. I said I was open to exploring it with her and possibly having a threesome with another woman to let her have that experience. She wanted a one-on-one experience with another woman and felt she couldn't do that with me present. I told her that sounded more like an affair and something I wasn't comfortable with. I asked her if she wanted to cancel the wedding and maybe separate while she figured out what she wanted to do. She was adamant that was not what she wanted and she was still very much in love with me and still wanted to get married, but she felt like she had to explore these feelings she was embracing before we settled down together. I asked her if she had done anything inappropriate at the wedding and cheated on me. I asked if she had someone in mind or had been talking to someone since she came back. She admitted to dancing with a girl at the reception and they kissed at the end of the night but nothing else happened. But she denied talking to anyone or pre-planning anything. She knows this was a lot to throw on my plate all at once and she didn't expect an answer right away. She just asked that I keep an open mind and keep talking about it. I couldn't promise anything but I agreed to do some research and talk to a workmate that has an open marriage to see how they cope. I did warn her if I found out she lied or was doing anything behind my back there would be no second chances and I would leave. My workmate has been super helpful and open about their relationship. My brother got me into a support group that has helped me come to terms with our relationship changes. I'm burning my way through my second book and sat Betty down Thursday night to check in and talk about moving forward. I found us a couples therapist, I gave her the book I had finished, and I told her we should postpone the wedding for 6 months and then decide if that's the path we are still on. I was on a roll when she stopped me and asked me if I was planning on dating other people. Like that never occurred to her that I would be dating as well. She kind of shut down after that, barely giving one-word answers when I would ask her something. I think the longest sentence I got was I just don't know. She has been like that for 24 hours now, like she is lost in a fog. I'm just bracing myself for the inevitable flood of emotions. I would have thought she would be happy that I was considering opening our relationship. Update 1. Saturday night her fog lifted and things got pretty heated. She said that the open relationship was my way of punishing her and being vindictive by dating other women. She was just asking for some grace to explore her feelings. I replied that she showed almost no remorse for cheating on me and instead expected an open-ended hall pass to do so again. I told her our friends had told me she asked them not to say anything about what happened at the wedding so I would probably never know the full truth and just had to accept it was worse than she admitted to. I asked if she thought it was fair to go have sex with other people while I waited by the door like some lovesick puppy who was expected just to wag his tail when she decided to come home and show me some attention. It devolved after that and some hurtful things were said by us both. I finally gave her 3 options if she wanted to move forward. 1. Monogamy, postpone the wedding and go to couples counseling. No experimenting. When we get to a good place then go ahead with the wedding with a prenup to protect me if she changes her mind and or cheats again. 2. Open relationship, we can both date who we want and she can figure out her sexuality on her own terms. In a year or so we can see if marriage still seems like a good option if we are still together. 3. Full separation, she moves out and we can each be free to live our lives as we see fit. When she decides she wants monogamy with me if I haven't moved on then we can try option number 1. But it would be a new beginning, not just picking up where we left off. She decided she needed some space to think things out and is going to stay with friends for a couple of days. I told her before she left that if she accidentally cheated while she was gone to not come back except to pick up the rest of her things. This morning I got a text from her, "I'm so sorry." She didn't answer when I asked her what she meant and my call went to voicemail. I'm not going to reach out to her again and I will wait to let her contact me when she is ready. Update 2. Previously my fiancée announced she was bisexual and had made out with a woman at her friend's wedding. On Wednesday, Betty went to her previously scheduled appointment with her therapist and told her what happened between us. Not sure what all was said, but she called me on the way to her friend's house apologizing for some of the things she said and wanted to come home and talk things out. I told her to stay at her friend's house tonight and think about what she wanted and she could come home Thursday and we could sit down and work things out. On Thursday we met at the house and talked over dinner. We both apologized for getting heated and saying some unfair things to each other. After talking to her therapist and having several conversations with her best friend over the last few days, she has decided not to explore her bisexual urges. The idea of a truly open relationship where I was free to sleep with other people terrified her, and getting married was more important than chasing the rainbow. Her original idea had been just a free pass to see if she was missing something in her life and how important it was to her. I asked what was she asking for an ONS, just dating a woman, or having a full relationship. She couldn't tell me exactly what she wanted. I said that didn't sound very monogamous to me or very fair. She agreed, and that was why she was giving up on exploring those feelings. Next, she brought up the notes I sent out canceling our save the date notices for our wedding day. She said she was getting all kinds of calls about what happened and was caught unaware about what they were even talking about at first. She was upset I did that without talking to her first. I reminded her that she lobbed 2 grenades in my lap, coming out as bisexual, and that she cheated on me, then left and wouldn't talk with me except for a cryptic "I'm so sorry" text followed by silence. While I never said anything other than we were having issues and had to postpone the wedding, evidently there was speculation that she had cheated on me. She switched gears and said we could still get back on track and get married next spring. No, because now when one of us is out of town, my mind will be thinking about you cheating again, especially after coming out and wanting to have an affair to explore your sexuality. I said maybe after couples therapy we could get back to a good place again, but not by the end of the year, and it would be foolish to start planning and making financial commitments before we even knew if therapy was going to work. Plus I wanted a prenup to protect everything I brought into the marriage as well as my future retirement savings. Plus she would forfeit any equity if we bought a house. When she protested, I said if you plan to be faithful and not change your mind later, then it would never be a thing. Just something to give me some peace of mind. It's been an ongoing conversation for the last few days. Betty wants to rug sweep the incident at the wedding and move forward with our wedding. Exploring her sexuality is not worth sacrificing our relationship, in her opinion. For now, we are back together and planning on counseling soon. In a post-clarity moment, I realize I rushed to embrace the idea of an open relationship to allow Betty the freedom to explore her new feelings, and I'm not as willing now to consider that option. I think separation is the better option, breaking up if you will, till we both decide what direction our future lies and if it is with each other. It's not what I want, but I also don't want to spend the next 3 to 5 years together only for her to change her mind or cheat on me one day. Update 3. Counseling started badly. Walked into the office and saw a large pride flag on the wall. Our therapist was very biased towards my girlfriend's predicament. Asked right over the cheating and into how I needed to better support Betty's awakening and support her journey to blah, blah, blah. Betty is the one who is confused, and I am not giving her a safe place to explore who she is. Nothing about my feelings or needs was addressed. To make matters worse, when the therapist was piling on me, I looked to Betty to stand up or say something positive for me, and I got nothing. That part hurt me the most, and I pretty much shut down for the remainder of the session. Toward the end, the therapist did try to engage with me because you could tell she knew had completely lost me. On the drive home, Betty tried to talk to me and I gave her the 3 answers I kept repeating to the therapist: sure, nope, and maybe. This was the therapist her individual therapist recommended us to. The next day I got a call from Betty's mom at my work wanting to know why we were postponing the wedding and that her family and friends had already started making plans. I told her she needed to take that up with her daughter. She kept badgering me until I finally told her Betty made out with someone at her friend's wedding and that was why things were on hold, and then I hung up on her. Less than an hour later I got a call from Betty demanding to know what I told her mom. I said you kissed someone at a wedding and we were trying to work through it, and that I didn't mention Betty coming out to me. I told her she needed to sit her mom down and tell her the whole truth, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So I get this text from her mom telling me I need to suck it up and move past this, and that I might even be at fault for not going to the wedding with her. Huge text giving me what for and trying to tell me what I need to do. I showed the text to Betty when she got home from work and said she needed to do something about her mom or I would enlighten her with the full story of all our problems the next time she tried to tear me a new one. Y said she would handle her mom and made me promise to give her some time to tell her mom everything. Also this week Betty has gotten very protective of her phone. Yeah, major red flag. I went to charge my phone and unplugged hers to plug mine in, and she almost flew across the room to practically snatch her phone out of my hand. I was able to sneak a look at her phone later while she was asleep, only to find she had changed her access code, something which she hadn't done since we had been together. I went online and looked at our phone bill, and there were many lengthy calls to a Colorado area code, which I have found out is where the girl she kissed was from. I am just mentally exhausted at this point, the gaslighting, lying, and just feeling like I am treading water all the time. Lately, when we've been intimate, there is a lack of passion in her that was there before all this. I feel love bombed without the feeling. Feels like just hollow words and empty gestures. Tomorrow we are going to a cookout at her parents' house. I am going to try and keep my cool and not say anything, crossing my fingers. But when we get back I am telling Betty I'm done. I'll give her the choice of keeping the apartment or moving out. She will be free to explore and find what truly makes her happy, just won't be me. I came clean with my parents and a few friends about this whole mess. My tribe is ready to help support me and help with the move when I need them. Dad vetoed Mom's offer to move back home and said what I really needed was a new puppy, definitely too old to live with my retired parents. Feels weirdly peaceful now that I've made my mind up. To all of you who told me so, You were right, time to move on with my life. Update 4. Betty and I returned early from a cookout at her parents' house. I had planned for my sister to be at our house when we got back as a witness but had to wait a couple of hours for her to show up. I got us all in the living room. A&D told Betty I couldn't do it anymore and was throwing in the towel. I said I had lost all trust in her and couldn't see a way forward and that the best choice was to just go our separate ways. Betty couldn't understand what I was saying and that she had been honest since her confession about what happened at the wedding. I asked if she had been in contact with the girl she kissed at the wedding and she denied it. I asked to see her phone and she refused, saying it would violate her privacy and the privacy of the people she had talked to. Fine, so who did you call with a 720 area code, and maybe I should call and see who answers. Doesn't really matter because it proves my point. I gave her a choice of moving out or staying and I would move out. I also said I would give her what she had contributed to our savings account for the wedding. She tried to get my sister to leave or get me alone to talk, but I told her I had been advised to have a witness present just in case. She went from crying to being angry, and after an hour and a half, she finally had a calm conversation about everything. We talked until almost midnight. This morning Betty decided to move back to her parents temporarily and the three of us packed up her things. While we waited for her dad and brother to come get her things, she tried to get me to go to a different counselor and give therapy another chance, but I said it was just a waste of time. I could never trust her again and that was no way to live. Now on to second story. Boyfriend became crazy and deleted my semester's worth of work, then cried for forgiveness while still expecting communication. I, 21F, was dating someone, 21 male, for a year. We hit it off really well when we first started, and at the time I had just gotten out of an abusive relationship with someone else. However, after December of 2022 things were nothing but downhill. My boyfriend at the time had gotten kicked out of his father's house, so he was living with me in my grandmother's house for a short period. Unfortunately, I ended up getting kicked out of there for a lot of things that also happened within my family, so I moved back in with my parents, while my boyfriend moved in with his brother a month or so after. While he stayed with his brother, he got a job at Wendy's, but I noticed that his demeanor towards me started to change rapidly. He would yell at me a lot for defending myself in regards to his friends, would block me anytime an argument took place over silly things, and he even broke up with me before because I had asked him for $50 for laundry, after doing his laundry and my own when we were living together, and other things I did to provide for us both because we were in a dark place. I never understood why he changed or why he acted this way, but this past month and 3 weeks really take the cake. So fast forward to November. We had already gotten back together at this point. He was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel with his friends and he was losing. I tried asking him why he was upset, but he got angry with me and then claimed the next day that I was condensing, and because of that we were no longer together. Then later in the month he had asked me to pick him up from work because he had a horrible day, and on my way to him, he said that things have changed since the separation. I only hang around you when I have nothing better to do or I'm bored. After he said that, I was crushed and even decided I didn't want to celebrate my birthday by the time the 27th came. We officially called things off when the Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing took place, but I really told him off after he said that comment, so by my birthday it has been clear that we were broken up. I had a friend in college, 19M, who's the same age as my baby sister. We hit it off and got really close as we're working on my college project for my final. My ex didn't like that at all, going as far as to hack into my Google account 2 nights ago and delete all of my files. Even a late essay I had just turned into to my professor, so he couldn't access the file at all. I was infuriated because he deleted a whole semester's and them sums worth of work. Even my resumes were gone, so I had to contact Google Assistants to get all my files back. Mind you, this is after already having an argument the night before and he getting physical with me to the point where I almost passed out on my staircase because he was choking me. He came to get his stuff the other night and apologized for everything and wouldn't stop crying. I consoled him, but I told him I needed to be away from him and I didn't want to speak to him because this shit hurt, and had I not gotten back my files I would have likely failed my very first semester of college. Now I'd what to do because it hurts a lot, and though he said he understood, he got mad at me for not talking to him yesterday even though he knows he's restricted and blocked everywhere. Update 1. So my ex tried to leak explicit images of me after I left for my trip to North Carolina. I also found out on Christmas, my ex had done things with my cousin and they both lied to me, after I went to my cousin and vented. So there's that little sum up. Currently I'm with someone else, 23 male, and I haven't heard from my ex or my cousin after finding out everything and confronting them. As far as my schoolwork goes, I'm currently doing my spring semester and still trying to pick up the pieces bit by bit, but I've been healing and mentally am in a better situation. Update 2. So I took everyone's advice and I stopped talking to the ex in question. However, a lot has happened in between then and now. My ex couldn't handle us not being together, and decided to not only leak explicit images of me on an old account I used to control. Don't worry, I was able to delete it and kick him out of all accounts he had access to. I had also found out the night before he leaked these videos and photos that he had done it with my cousin, 21F, on Christmas night after she reassured with me and my at the time friend, 19F, that she would talk to him and help me find a middle ground because of his behavior. She knew about him deleting my schoolwork, hacking into my other stuff, and being physically and emotionally abusive towards me. She actually spoke up on me leaving him a few times, and said she was proud when I finally made the move to do so. When I found that she slept with my ex, I confronted her, due to the fact that a few days before this, she had admitted to me that they kissed but swore to me that's all they did and that they just has a few drinks and apologized to me. Obviously that wasn't the case anymore. It's actually pretty funny actually. I was playing Mario Kart with friends and my ex somehow texted me on Snapchat from a different account and his exactly words were, "I'm gonna fuck up your night. Me and your cousin didn't just kiss. We fucked." Cry about it along with a bunch of other colorful words. He also said he was doing this since she had made it clear we wasn't cool anymore. I'd also like to point out that this was during my first vacation, so I was not at home during any of this. When I finally reach home however, my cousin argues with me on Snapchat, essentially trying to justify her actions, and argues with my friend and says disrespectful things about her family etc. It was a lot. And after that we didn't speak to each other for a couple of months. After this however, give it maybe March or Aprilish, I decided to forgive her and move on from everything for my mental health but to keep her at a distance due to me not wanting to open up again. She however didn't like that, and insisted that it wasn't fair that I didn't want to listen and how I let my friend slut shame her due to what she did and refused to understand the point I was making, so it broke out into a all-out war with my ex somehow getting access to one of my alt accounts and telling me to stop talking to my cousin, which let me know they were still talking. So by that point I dropped it altogether. Now months later, my cousin has messaged my Instagram after months of not talking to me saying she wants to reconcile and says it's unfair that I was willing to drop it and forgive my ex and not her first, even though I did forgive her first and she chose to not listen to me, and basically that because we're family I should be able to reach out and forgive her. I upfront told her that if we were family you wouldn't have did what you did to me and lied to my face. I haven't spoke to her since that day, but she keeps apologizing and telling me she loves me and my friend who I don't speak to anymore. I don't know what to do here. I don't want to talk to her, but I don't want to essentially abandon someone I've grown up with for years. I feel like I have mixed emotions. Update 3. It was really bothering me mentally on how to handle it. To explain why, we aren't cousins by blood, but rather were raised to believe that we were by our parents, so I always kept that loyal regard that we were cousins regardless of the matter, so I still considered her family aside from the fact. It took a lot for me to block her, but I know it's for the best. I have great news. My mother just helped me get a new phone entirely, and since I will be going to college in North Carolina for classes, I won't be using my current phone anymore unless needed. As far as my cousin goes, as I said yesterday, she is currently and still is blocked. Neither she or he has tried reaching out to me, so luckily for that. As for those of you who were asking why I hadn't gotten a restraining order against my ex or anything, the last I heard, he is currently in Maine, so he's nowhere near me, and since he doesn't know where moving to and doesn't know anyone that I currently talk to in North Carolina, I'm honestly sure that I may be fine. But for the extra precaution I plan to look into the matter in the off chance that I run into him at any point, though I honestly doubt that will be the case. I'm currently taking my art major in RCC right now and will continuing to do so and focusing on myself as I also stated previously.